Hey there, welcome to The Stream. I'm Josh Rushing. Ramadan is underway for more than 1 billion Muslims around the world to observe the holy month. It's time for spiritual discipline, reflection, community, and social awareness. Increasingly, environmentalists also see it as an opportunity to reflect on and practice sustainability. So today we ask, how can Ramadan be more sustainable? But first, let's hear from Nishat Shafi, co-founder of the Arab Youth Climate Movement in Doha, Qatar.
I think given the Islamic world and the region, which is one of the most vulnerable to climate change, we need to use this as a time to self-reflect our way of living, the consumerism problem, the food waste problem, etc. I think Ramadan gives us a great opportunity to live eco-friendly, eat eco-friendly, and stay together collectively as a community to work towards climate issues at a very community level. And this can be done through various initiatives at your community, at your family, and at your gatherings, etc.
Joining us to discuss from Washington, D.C., Corey Majid, a faith-based activist and founder of Green Ramadan. In Cambridge, England, Aman Shajad Machik from the Cambridge Central Mosque. And with us from Darmstadt, Germany, Abdul Alim Malik, International Marketing Manager for Green Iftar. Oh yeah, hey, one more seat at this table, that's you. If you're watching this on YouTube, see the box over there? We've got a live producer waiting to get your comments to me so I can get them to our guests. So let's do this together, right? All right, let's set this up. Imam Sajid, will you, for our non-Muslim audience, set up Ramadan? I'm sure they're familiar that 1 billion Muslims are participating or observing Ramadan this month, but they may not know what that really means.
Yeah, of course. We use this opportunity to invite our neighbors, over. There's nothing better, they say, like a nice fresh samosa and a date that can bring communities together, and then you introduce to them all that Ramadan entails. Mm-hmm. And of course, we are more and more conscious and aware in recent years, I have to say for the last 10 years or so, of being eco-friendly, environmentally friendly. So since we opened our mosque, which is arguably the first eco-friendly mosque in Europe, we have always pushed this agenda on green faith, going green. So like this year, Ramadan, our first major lecture that was given by our chairperson, Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad, was Green Way, or going green. So we constantly emphasize that, and when we bring our neighbors and colleagues of other faiths and none, we basically share the same idea with them and show them what it looks like to have an eco-friendly iftar, which is somewhat more simple than usual, but mainly it looks like something which is taking care of the environment.
Corey, can you tell me how, because I think a lot of people who maybe don't know that much about Ramadan really associate it with fasting being kind of a big part of it. How does that lead to more consumption? What are we talking about here?
Well, during Ramadan, the focus is on food. A lot of the focus is on food. So after a day of fasting, all you want to do is eat. You want to get that samosa, just like the Imam said. And so with that consumption, there's a lot of waste, and that's what needs to change. There's waste from the disposable things. There's waste from the food. There's waste from water, and that needs to change.
Well, when you say there's waste, is there more waste than any other time of the year?
Yes. So I promise you, the dumpsters behind most masajid are more full during Ramadan than any other time.
And Alim, how did you become involved with the idea of a green iftar?
It is exactly the background as the Imam and Sister Corey has mentioned. Me personally, going to a mosque, taking my friends there, even my non-Muslims friends, I was always ashamed walking past piles of rubbish, garbage, and especially food leftovers. As mentioned, a lot of people are coming in, so we have high volumes of guests attending at the mosque. So usually what mosques used to do is they tend to just buy disposable items, and they used to have a lot of waste of food. So this has really brought us to the conclusion that we need to have a positive change. And what better time is there than in Ramadan, when a community, a whole community of Muslims worldwide is consciously pursuing to do a better thing and to improve themselves, improve their environment. So we usually have this gain and this need to do great things. So especially at that time, it is a perfect opportunity to do a change for a better. So on the one hand, they're at the mosque, they're seeing these piles, and on the other hand, they're trying to improve their donations, their prayers. So how does this go hand in hand? So we came up with a campaign, how you can do step by step and change for improvement. When it comes to disposable items, we encourage mosques, that's one of those goals that we have in the Green Iftar goals, to not use any disposable items. When it comes to food leftovers, we ask our guests in advance to bring containers so that if there are any food leftovers, so that they can donate them to a charity, to a homeless house, so that there is no leftovers at the mosque.
I want to bring in a video comment from Noor Zarazadeh. She's an assistant professor at the University of Maryland. Here, check this out.
A lot of the times the conversations that we have about climate change or the need for climate action and environmental sustainability, it can sometimes feel like these ideas are being kind of imposed. There's this kind of economic burden of environmental action and sustainable action that is placed on other countries in the world, particularly in the global south.
It was actually Noor's article and the conversation that kind of led us to doing an episode about this. So I have this pulled up on my computer right now, and I'm just going to tweet it out for our audience. Don't go now, but after the show, you guys can check that out. If you need to find me at Twitter, it's just at Josh Rushing. And it's a really excellent article. You can read about that later. Aman Sajjad, I want to ask you, because you kind of mentioned it at the beginning, but I'm curious what it means, that you're a part of one of the first eco-friendly mosques in Europe.
Yes, so like we said, we realize that, it is our religion, our holy scripture, which pushes us. It is basically asking us to set an example to others by being environmentally friendly, using materials that can sustain our planet for much longer than what we are. So our mosque is quite unique in the sense that the entire building actually is made of wood, timber. It's timber structure. It's like people don't even realize from some pictures, you might not even get it. Even the walls themselves are actually built of timber. Even the roof itself, the whole building is actually made of wood, not just the columns, which look very nice and beautiful. So, for me to be part of this particular project is an additional honor, but an additional responsibility. But like I just said earlier on, our chairperson, Sheikh Abdul Hakim Murad, is a very strong believer and proponent of this green faith, so-called green theology. So whenever we can, basically, we use the opportunity to raise awareness in our congregation, to educate them that we are genuinely being appointed by God to look after this planet. And genuinely, the scripture is telling us not to waste. Yes, you can sustain yourself, that there's nothing wrong with eating and drinking in moderation, but not going beyond the line of waste and, extravagance. So we use Ramadan, like Brother Halim said, as a really big platform to share that strong message with our congregation and raise their, level of awareness. And hopefully, it will somewhat penetrate, in our communities at family levels and then neighborhood levels and then maybe, to a larger scale.
Corey, will you tell us about your Iftar kit, if you will? I found that really interesting.
Yeah, so a long time ago, when I only had 4 kids. So I was at the masjid, and there were styrofoam cups on the table full of dates for people to break their fast. And people picked up that cup, ate the food, broke their fast, and threw away the cup. And I'm like, that cup was only used for less than 5 seconds. And this is going to happen over and over and over again for the rest of Ramadan, for 29, 30 days. And this might be happening in other masajid. So I had to make a change. So I made a change with my family first. I created an Iftar kit. So it had a stainless steel tray, a reusable tumbler, even had a cloth napkin. We had bamboo cutlery, and it became our family tradition to bring these Iftar kits wherever Iftar we went to, whether it be at the masjid or whether it be at someone's house. And so when I'm bringing these kits, people are looking at me like, sis, what are you doing? And so I got to start these conversations about sustainability and Ramadan, and how there's a disconnect to create all this waste when Allah does not love the wasters. It's a disconnect. So I had to make a change. And then, later on, I would see other people bringing their little iftar kits as well, mashallah. So it was just a way to make a change for my family first and start some conversations.
Hey, can we just go back to one thing you said at the beginning? This is a side note, but did you say when I only had 4 kids?
Yes, I have 5 now.
Me too. Hey, congratulations. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, look, I want to play some video. This is actually from Abdul, from the organization you work with, Green Iftar. Here, watch this.
Join the campaign.
Green Iftar.
Use regional and seasonal ingredients.
Let's use water judiciously.
Let's cook easy and mainly vegetarian.
Let's practice less is more.
Let's avoid plastic bags and unnecessary packaging.
Let's avoid single-use plastic.
If we don't have enough tableware at our home, let's ask the guests to bring their own.
Let's donate the extra food to those in need.
Let's spread our word and motivate others to take up the idea.
All right, playing off of Corey, who had an idea for a change here. Aleem, can you talk to us? What's some of the biggest things that people can do during this Ramadan to make their Ramadan more green?
Yeah, first of all, I'd like to say I completely agree with both what Corey said and the Imam said, because basically these are the core principles that we need to engage with, because they actually allow us to engage with the whole community. These are core principles that, regardless of your Islamic background, you will accept and agree upon. That's the beauty of stewardship, like Khalifat, and when we talk about mizan, the balance, and also amana, the God-given trust to us as Muslims. So thinking, coming back to your question in that regard, the easiest way to start is to start today, even if it's one step, but to have it sustainably growing. What we offer as a organization is a Green Iftar guide. It is something that you can just print out on our website, or like just download it on your phone. It's in English, it's in German, and it allows you to go step by step on a daily basis to a more sustainable iftar. That means that you can have also information about the impact of whatever step you're taking, and that is the connection between your local action and the global impact. Let's say, as Sister Corey mentioned, you're not going to bring any more disposable items. Let's count that down to how many tons of plastic you're saving. Let's count that down to how much CO2 you're saving with every single step. And this is something that is particularly designed for households. It is designed for institutions such as Muslim student associations that usually host a lot of guests, but especially also to the mosque. So anyone, regardless of their background, whether you have a high income, a low income, and regardless of where you are, this program is for you to make your iftar more sustainable.
Aleem, will you tweet a link of that to me? It's just at Josh Rushing on Twitter, and I'll get that out to our followers after the show where they can download that.
Yeah, we will do so.
That'd be really helpful. Okay, I'm going to bring in another video comment. This is from Hamza Badi. He's a content creator in Islamabad, Pakistan. Check this out.
So Muslims could definitely practice sustainability in Ramadan. One good idea could be replacing beef with lentils. Have no doubt about it that we love our beef, but the impact of beef on climate is pretty scary. We could also do this by growing our own fruits and vegetables in our home kitchen gardens. So the best thing about Pakistan is that the soil is actually pretty rich. So most of the things, everything grows over here. So I think we could do this and probably reduce the carbon footprint of food as well. I believe that it's very important for all of us to learn about sustainability and obviously the impact of sustainable food on climate change. So yeah, I hope that we just keep on raising more awareness towards sustainable food.
Yeah, I see everyone kind of nodding and smiling along with that. And I love also just an opportunity to hear from someone in Pakistan saying the soil is really good here. You know, we can grow our own local vegetables, but it's such a global thing, Ramadan, right? I mean, we're talking to people in 3 different countries right now. But Aleem, I love how you point out that you can make this kind of global connection. I want to bring in one more video comment. This is from Imam Ajmal Masroor. I'm probably messing up his last name, but he's at the Southgate Mosque in London.
Ramadan is the month when we connect with God, we connect with our fellow humans, and we connect with ourselves. When we connect, we understand the pains and sufferings of people who don't have enough. And we are taught in the month of Ramadan, eat and drink, but in measures. We learn to self-restrain. We eat at the right time. We eat the right food in the right quantity. We don't waste. So we're teaching our congregation to be more conscious of how much they eat, what they eat, as well as how much they can share with those who are around them, and recycle more. These are some of the key aspects of our faith that we would like to encourage everyone to remember, not only in the month of Ramadan, but throughout the year.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah, jump in, please.
Yeah, even on the former speaker, he said something really beautifully in that, especially coming from Pakistan, since my ancestors are from Pakistan.
Oh, Hamza
Pakistan
Badi,
was one of the first. He was one of the. Pakistan was one of the countries that was the first to implement all of the strategic development goals. That's not just for fun's sake, but that's out of a fact that they are facing now the consequences of the global change that we're all facing. And if you just look at the current situation of a lot of Muslims, some of them are consciously saying, I can't cope with the situation. I'm feeling helpless. I feel overpowered. So they individually feel like ants in a huge gear, and they're not feeling that they're having any impact. And what we would like to do with this campaign is to utilize not just only the strength of the communal effort, which is not just a regional, but as you can see, it's a global impact by what Sister Corey is contributing, by what the Imam is contributing. This is a global cause having an effect immediately, not just on humans, but actually to your own family in my case. So this is a very personal issue. And on the other hand, it's also empowering young people, regardless of their background, regardless of which social circle they're coming from, to take action, and in a beautiful way where they're engaging even interreligiously with everyone who is in their community. If you go to your local farmer and you buy from him, regardless of his background, but you're supporting your local producers, you're supporting local farmers, local artwork. And that is the beauty of staying local, working locally, and then thinking globally.
I want to check in with our YouTube audience here. We're getting a lot of love, a lot of Ramadan greetings, but we're also getting a little bit of pushback. And so I'm going to push this to you, Imam. Some say the pushback is against the less meat, which you may or may not find surprising. But someone is saying if there was something wrong with meat, it would be haram.
Okay. Oh, after Mama, I want to get in this. Go ahead.
You're next, Corey.
Please, me as a third.
Yeah,
okay, all right. We'll go right down the line here. Let's begin with the Imam.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting comment, I have to say. Like, it's not everything, that seemed to be harmful to us, at first instance that the religion says it's lawful or vice versa. We just can't sometimes get the divine wisdom behind certain legal rules. I mean, it is a valid point, no doubt about that. So what we can propose is yes, it seems like we need to consume some meat for those people who can and feel like doing that. But again, in moderation. Quran mentions, animals and how God facilitated them, for our usage. And I really like this philosopher who recently said, all that we have on this planet should be seen as a source of life, not a resource to be used, So, we basically, this is what the Quran teaches us, need to see all different species as nations in their own rights, with their own integrity. So if we looked at the animal kingdom from that point of view, I'm pretty sure that, we would start consuming less of meat, and we'll maybe on some very special occasions, and we will realize by the end of the road, well, we are still fine and healthy, and nothing has happened to us, We're not eat meaters, are we?
Corey, what did you have there?
So one of the videos, someone was talking about Ramadan is about connecting with Allah and connecting with the Quran, connecting with the community. I want to add that Ramadan is also about connecting with the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. So what did the Prophet do? We should want to do what the Prophet do. Muslims love their meat. Yeah, I'm not telling anyone to be vegan. I'm not vegan. Just less. Like the Imam said, moderation. Try one day a week filled with vegetables, fruits, tofu, grains, lentils, nuts, seeds, tempeh. Like, there's a lot to eat. but let's eat like the Prophet did, peace be upon him, who he usually ate meat on special occasions. So he was most likely a semi-vegetarian. So let's be like the Prophet and just eat less.
Aleem?
I can just agree. Me personally, being someone who for over 15 years has been raising chickens, who has worked in the organic and halal certified meat industry, I can just also just put to the occasion one question, and that is, especially when we look from it from a religious perspective, we on our campaign, we are not about telling people, let's go vegan. All we're saying is let's consider not only the amounts of meat, but also what sort of meat we're eating from. So if we're praying all day, if we're giving donations, and then we want to open up a iftar, like break our fast with good stuff, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, he always mentions halal wa tayyiban.
That's right.
That means that it should not just only be halal, but it should also be tayyib. Our Imam can maybe later on explain to us maybe about what tayyib is, but to our common understanding, it is right now that how can we bring genetically modified, mass slaughtered, industrialized meat to the occasion and claim that this has anything to do with the meat that is supposed to be halal and tayyib. So it really reflects a current state and also a sort of crisis that we're facing internally when we talk about like the first concern, the amounts of meat, they're going to take the meat of us at the end of the day. But no one's really asking, in what sort of state was this animal? Did it actually ever see the daylight? Did it ever actually have like real air to breathe? Did it actually ever get real food? I mean, they're eating more antibiotics than probably we are consuming. So at the end of the day, really, it is about not just only yes or no, but also the how. Where are these things coming from? How can it be halal if it hasn't really seen the daylight? So I'd just like to add this to the occasion for the discourse as well.
All right, we got just a couple of minutes left here. I want to bring in one more piece of video and then some commentary after it.
What does it mean to be a steward of the earth? Families are losing their homes to floods in Bangladesh and Pakistan.
Communities are starving due to droughts in Somalia and Afghanistan.
And decisions are dominated by the powerful few.
From wealthy governments to corporate polluters.
But Muslims are left out of the climate conversation.
We make up a quarter of the planet.
We deserve to be part of the equation.
We deserve to represent ourselves.
We are 2 billion voices speaking together.
Turning up the heat on inaction and shining a light on injustice.
Because peace, harmony, and balance on our planet starts with talking about it.
Imam Sajjad, I'm thinking that, so many of the countries that are being impacted by climate change are Muslim countries. How do you take this advocacy out of the month of Ramadan and connect it kind of year-round to the global community?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And maybe that's not a coincidence, that it's mainly Muslim countries that are affected by the current climate catastrophe or change. Maybe we need to start reading our book again, properly and practice it as we should. And the call, is quite blatant and direct to us. So I think, like I said, Ramadan is just the basis where we really, very uniquely but very consistently and persistently train ourselves to restrain, to withhold, to abstain from. It's like giving up things. So consuming less of an intake. Ghazali was so adamant in Ramadan, you ought to at least, you can't have eaten more just because you stopped eating for 14 or 12 hours and then overeat at iftar time.
That's right, Imam.
Throughout the month, you got to eat less. So I think we need to pass on this message.
So, Imam, I need to stop you there because that's all the time we have. I want to thank you and Aleem and Corey for joining us. I want to say Ramadan Mubarak to everyone out there who's observing it this month, and to everyone else. We'll see you next time on the stream.